I am Zanny.
And I'm Audrey.
And we are the Therapy Arms.
Arms.
And this, I believe, is Series 1, Episode 5, I think.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think so. Keep track for us and let us know. We're asking you to hold us accountable.
We've had a heat wave, so we could blame it on the heat if we're wrong.
Absolutely. Wonderful, though. I've really enjoyed that.
Same. I love the heat.
Yeah. Oh,
love the heat.
absolutely. My vitamin D is tanked up. I am my natural color now. I am not looking sickly or anemic. So, yes, that long may it continue.
I always think of you in the sunshine.
Yeah, I
I'm
love
like,
it.
Audrey would be happy.
Yes,
today.
absolutely.
So today we thought we'd talk about bereavement, but not the bereavement of a person or a friend or a family member, but the bereavement of a pet, an animal.
My daughter, full disclosure, lost her greyhound recently, and was suggested. She did say to me, "Could you please do an episode on grieving a pet?" Because she looked for support online everywhere, and she couldn't find anything that could help her continue with the grieving process outside of family and friends. So I thought, yeah, why not? Great topic. And a lot of us now have pets. We have dogs, cats, goldfish, hamsters. We have loads of animals around us, horses, and they provide us with a lot of love, support that we really rely on and take for granted in lots of ways.
Absolutely. And animals are so important to us when we're looking after them, and we develop attachments to them in the same way as we develop attachments to people.
That's right.
I talk a lot about grief and bereavement. It's an area of work that I'm really passionate about, and I'm comfortable in that space. I don't advertise bereavement for animals, but I do it, and I treat it in the same way I would if someone was having grief over a person.
Yes.
Because the attachment is still there and the loss is still just as big. And in some cases, a person can feel a greater loss between losing an animal that they feel safe and secure with in comparison to losing perhaps a parent or sibling or friend whose attachment was different.
Correct.
You know, the loss is still extreme, it's still big, but it can sometimes shock people because it can feel more difficult for them to handle.
And I suppose that is the key take home in there. It is the space that this living organism, pet, was holding for you. What did they mean for you? What do they mean to you? And we take that for granted, that people, and then there's a conversation around people not weighing them the same or thinking, less than because they're pets. But what we do not appreciate is what that pet brought to you. What space did they hold for you? And as Zanny is saying, in lots of ways, our pets override the support that we get from our friends, family. Just because they're family, just because they're friends, doesn't mean that they actually give you what you need. Otherwise, they wouldn't come to therapy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they wouldn't need support.
And so many people, including myself, will describe their pets as their family and their friends.
Absolutely.
And so, like my dog, I've got a lovely dog, Donnie. He is.
Look at the smile on her face just saying that.
He just brings so much joy to all our lives, but joy, but also connection, because we do things together because of him, like taking him out for walks as a family and stuff like that. And he's been unwell. He's got a heart condition now, so we are preparing ourselves and having those conversations around what life is going to look like without him, which is really difficult to think about. He is like another child. He is to my children, he's another sibling, and that loss is going to be huge in our house. Not to see his, stumpy little tail wagging as we walk through the door, and giving for my son, certainly growing up, Donnie was something that made him feel happy in the morning. So his first thought wasn't, I've got to go to school, which he struggled in school. So the dog become his moment of regulation before leaving the house for school. He woke up to feed him, to help look after him, as a way of distracting him from thinking about school, and as a way of helping him be able to manage getting ready to go to school. So he's been a huge part of our lives.
And I suppose that then allows us to place and ground and understand what pets mean to their pet owners. So it sets the background, it lays that background for the importance of the role that our pets play to our lives. And in that understanding, we can then be able to appreciate the vacuum that has been left, which is what grief is. Grief is the vacuum that has been created from that loss, from the removal of this thing that was highly valued, that held an important place in your life, that gave you direction, that gave you something. And without it, what are you left with?
Yeah.
And so that is that understanding that perhaps can give us pause and cause to accommodate and appreciate, okay, so what happens now then? How do I move going forward without this space being taken on, without my pet being there, without my dog, without my cat? And it reminds me that, animals are living things like us. We are living things, breathing, living, and with that comes all the things attached to living things, like characteristics. People say my dog is feisty, my cat is moody. We attribute characteristics to our.
I'm laughing because we give voices to the dog. So, like, the kids will say, or they're adults now, but they'll say, "Bye, Daddy," and we'll go like, "Bye," and do little voices. And that we do really embody that characteristic of who the dog is and how he might be feeling. So when the sun goes out, we know he's a bit miserable. So we're like, "I'm missing the sun." And and we play him out, and feels like we're really connecting to him in those moments, and we probably are. And it's love, it's fun, it's nice, and they all have personalities, all of them, different ones.
And I can imagine he then, when he hears you and he hears the tone, the voice with which you're using, he then responds accordingly.
Of course, yeah.
So I have had it being said, they know when you're having a bad day, they know when you're having a good day. I've seen evidence of when people are feeling down in the dumps, the dog will come, and I find that so endearing, come and lay his head or their head on your lap.
And you've mentioned horses earlier. I've seen videos of horses putting their heads on their owners' shoulders if they're sad or crying. Or I think animals in general, even having the hamster or the fish can help us to feel something and feel connected to something in the moments where we need it most.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what we lose when we lose a pet.
Yes,
that
it is that space
and that reason.
Yes, the space that they were holding. So when they've gone, what happens next?
The animal might be the only reason that a person steps outside the house for every day, for the walk or for the ride or to go and get the food, or so when we in a world where there's less communication and less contact with each other because of how we've gone in the digital world we have today, having a reason to step outside the house that's beyond you as a person can bring greater things.
Yes, yes. It gives you an ability to do it, your activities of everyday life. You know, the very often if you've got, say for example, if we think about depression, if we pick one of the mental health difficulties that we can be experiencing, and you have a dog, say, you know, one of the things that you struggle with is being able to get out of bed every morning. And when you have a dog, you have a reason to get out. If you have a cat, you have a reason to get out of bed. You have to feed the dog, you have to feed the cat, you have to feed the fish. So because of that, you have to step out of yourself to be able to look after or support somebody else. And so animals are able to get us out of our own funk, of our own misery, for lack of a better word, and they give you a reason for living. And so there is that complication of, okay, so what next now? A lot of times we are, again, because of the world that we are in, we are working from home more regularly. And so the times you can go for days on end without leaving your house, without speaking to another human being. And so when you have a pet, they give you that reason to get out of the house. You have to go and take the dog for a walk. When you're out for it always amazes me, when you're out on the walk, you're saying hello to other dog walkers or joggers or people that you meet, because these events are regular occurrences. You meet people that you begin to know because you meet them on that exercise, and you're saying hello, and before you know it, you've created community. So that's then the loss that you're going to experience when your animal has passed. Where do you get structure from? Your day now has lost some of its meaning, some of the structures that were in place for you.
Yeah, it's creating that again, isn't it? So with all of that being said, I think one of the main things that's experienced from a loss of a pet is loneliness. It's really apparent that animal that you loved so much and cared for so long, even if they frustrated you sometimes, even if the chewing or the having to pick up, or my dog, when he's anxious, he licks his feet, and that noise really grates on me. Or the barking or anything like that, all those things that irritate us, we're going to feel lonely when they're missing and they're not there anymore.
Yes.
So the loneliness, the sadness,
Yes.
depending on the situation, you know, you might have anger that the animal's gone. I don't know if you've witnessed it, if you've seen it. All the losses, or the numbness,
or even
the loneliness,
the anger of the unfairness of it.
Yeah,
it's the stages of grief that take place for a human being, because we are still a human being. So grief does not choose. It does not think to itself, oh yeah, that's an animal, oh no, that's a human being, therefore I'll adapt the experience based on the identity of the loss. Grief is grief. It does not choose, it does not discriminate. A loss is a loss. It is experienced the same way. Dare I even say, controversially, even when you've lost a job or a dream, the body experiences it as a loss. And it will go through the same motions of, this is unfair, I'm so angry, oh gosh, I'm so sad because of the potential that could have been. And so you're going to experience all these emotions. You're going to be angry at the situation or the vacuum that has been created. You're going to negotiate with the grief and think, come on.
Yeah, the disbelief, the bargaining. Is this actually happening? Why is this happening to me?
Why is this happening to me?
What could I have done differently? What if?
Absolutely.
That's really prominent in this process when you're grieving something or someone.
Yes.
The what if is really strong. that seems to be the one that comes back the most, I think.
Yeah.
The people that I'd see in my rooms, even years down the line, we have the what if.
Yes, because every time you're learning new things, you're discovering new things, you're discovering with time, you start remembering, your memory comes back, you recall other elements, and you start questioning, could that have been, what if that hadn't happened? What if that was a sign that I needed to have done something else? And so what we're saying is that it is valid for you to go through those emotions of anger, of sadness, because this animal was important to you. It held, the key thing here is that it held an important part. It played an important part in your life, and there's now a loss, there's a vacuum.
Yeah.
And what does that mean for you? You know, you now sitting there thinking, what am I going to do now? And the animals are really great at absorbing all those feelings without pushback. I think that's a big thing that I hear. And a human being sometimes will push back or will try and reason with you.
Yeah.
Whereas your pets don't. They take it, which is why it can feel so intense.
Yeah, the animals become the therapy space for people because the animals meet us with no judgment.
But if you think about a cat, you know, if I think about I had a cat when I was young, and they're very independent. Cats are very independent beings. However, even in that independence, you get into a rhythm and an understanding between the two of you, because as independent as that cat was, she still came and sat on my lap sometimes.
She needed you to feed her.
Feedlissimo. Absolutely. Absolutely. And even knowing that, I'll be like, yes, I know. Yes, you want me to feed you at some point, but it was a contract that we had signed.
Yeah, and it's not like with people, I'm kind of off on a tangent here, but because you've just made me think of this, but when you think about people and the sometimes with some people you feel like you give. With animals, there's such an unwritten rule of give and take.
Yes.
It just happens, and it's such a beautiful thing.
Yes. And they're a little bit like children, which is why we think of them as children. You know, a children is very dependent on you for its food, shelter, accommodation. But what they give you in return is joy, unbridled joy. You watch a child laughing. That's just because the one that gets me is laughing, or rolling, or a child is so intent on their toes like they've never seen, which they haven't, toes before. But you burst out laughing because of the sheer fascination. And that's what I see with the cats or the dog. They're so mesmerized by a swinging ball or something, or you know, I don't know how many times I see this with my sister's cat. We'll be watching TV with you and you're thinking, do you know what's going on? But you're both sitting there absolutely glued. When I've babysat my sister's cat, and we're sitting there, and she's really feisty, and she'll paw at you so that you can position your legs properly so that she can sit comfortably. Yes. And you start by stroking her head, and when you stop, she's like, excuse you?
Yes.
Who gave you permission to stop? And so we go back.
Who's in control here?
But what do I get in return? Things like the purring. I don't know whether any of you relate. That low vibration when they're purring synchronizes with my own vibration and calms me down immediately.
Do you know there was a study on cats, how clever they are? They have, over the years, made their voice, their meows, attune to the same frequency as a baby cries.
What?
So that humans react to it in a way of, I want to help you.
Okay. So now
And the purring just
It
comforting.
regulates, it regulates the nervous system. The same with the dog, just hearing the breathing, yes, which is why the dog, when you're dysregulated, will come and sit next to you and calm you down through its breathing, through its warmth, through the sense of touch. And so you can then appreciate how their departure leaves this vacuum. What happens?
What do we do now?
What do I do now?
What's my role? What's my job? What's my purpose?
Who's going to regulate me? Who's going to listen to me? Without telling me, come now.
Animal loss should be treated in the same way as human loss. And I think this because grief is grief.
Yes.
And it feels the same. And for some people, the loss of an animal would be more heart-wrenching than the loss of a person in their life. For some people it won't, but for some people it will. So I think it's about time the world trusted people to be honest with their feelings. So you should be able to phone in work. This is my opinion. I think it should be government law. You should be able to phone in work to say, my dog's died, I'm going to need some time off work.
Yes.
I'm going to need I need to speak to HR because I'm going to need some support in this. It should be accepted. We shouldn't hear those awful words of, it's just an animal, or, well, are you going to get another dog? Are you going to get another one?
Quick to replace.
Yeah, because like you said earlier, they all have their own characteristics. Doesn't matter if I got another dog that looked exactly the same as my dog I have now. They won't be the same.
No.
They just won't be.
No.
They haven't lived their life with me as I was then when he was growing up with my children. They won't adapt in the same way because they will be different. They'll be with me in a different stage of my life. There'll be a new dog with a new characteristics, with an identity in their own right.
Correct.
And it makes me really cross when people can't seek support from work particularly.
Yes.
And say, I just need some time with this, in the same way as if, we're talking about an animal you live with. It's a huge part of your immediate family.
Yes.
Someone you see. I probably see my dog. I probably spend more time with my dog than I do my teenage children.
That is very true.
Because they're doing what they're doing. They're young adults now. They're living their life. And my dog's at home giving me company, and it's lovely, and I love it because I'm not on my own.
And all the things that they do, the dog greets you when you come in. I have a neighbor whose cat. It took me a while. I was studying because I couldn't understand what was going on. But the cat actually meets her at the junction of the road, and it's because I used to see this cat crossing my garden every day at the same time. And I was always curious, what's going on? And a couple of times I registered, hold on, the cat goes out, passes my front door. And then a few minutes later, my neighbor passes. The cat, the neighbor, the cat. And then one day I actually witnessed it. True story. I witnessed the cat sauntering across as they do, and then going to the junction, and all of a sudden, it was all of a sudden because she turned a corner, he was my neighbor. And then they came walking together, not on a lead. I kid you not, guys. I kid you not. I know I love stories, but this is true story. They come walking across, and I've seen it not once, twice, maybe 3 times. I was in awe. Now, tell me, how many of us get met, not even, let's not take it far to the junction, get met at the door by our loved ones? Be it a child, be it your significant other. Who amongst us? Put it in the comment section.
Yeah.
I would like to know. How many of us get met at the door? We're not going to take it so far as the junction. We'll just make it the door.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's something to reflect on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so now imagine my neighbor's cat departs this world. Can you imagine? How loved she feels? how wanted she feels, that somebody once has missed you so much, they've come to look for you. Yes, albeit maybe there's food at the end of it. It doesn't matter. The fact remains, somebody was waiting for you and knows this is the time you're coming home, and I'm going to come and meet you. Even thinking about it, I'm feeling full of awe and appreciation. I'm like, yeah, please, I want, if any of my children, my husband, I wouldn't mind if you come and meet me at the door. Just saying.
With a hot drink, maybe.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, hope you're watching.
Take notes.
I had a cat that used to walk to school with me.
Oh,
Yeah. But granted, I lived in town.
yes.
And the school was literally over the road. And she used to cross the road with me. This is high school.
Yes.
And walk to the school. And we lost her for half term once.
Oh.
And they found her in the school.
Oh, she was looking for you.
She went in the school, but she'd managed to find food in the form of probably mice and rats.
Yes, yes,
which
yes,
is gross.
She was doing what she does
But
naturally.
yeah, I thought she was meeting me.
Ah.
But sometimes she would obviously be in the school further than we
Hunting.
thought she was.
Yeah. But can you imagine that? I mean,
So lovely.
yes.
And my friends would be like, "Oh, where's your cat?" And so everyone knew who she was.
Yes,
It was really lovely. She lived for so long. She was my mum's cat, really, because I did move out and we tried to move her in with me, but she wasn't happy.
Yes.
So we moved,
She came back
stayed
home.
back to with mum because
Yeah.
she ultimately was mum's cat, which
Yeah.
is really sad.
You knew where you stood in there. Yeah.
But going back to that passing, so when my cat died, my mum phoned me, and which is really unusual for her because it wasn't something that we always had like rituals and things in our lives, but she sort of phoned me and she was like, "Oh, I didn't tell you, but the cat died last week. Casey died last week." And I was like, and I had a baby at the time.
Yeah.
So I think that we were having so much fuss around
The baby.
and all the family coming together and doing all the lovely things that we're privileged enough that we could do. And amongst that, the cat had died. And I was really hurt by not being told. I was really hurt by not having some kind of ceremony or ritual. And I think we forget this a lot with pets.
Yes.
Because we separate them somehow from people. But they're still animals, they're still living beings.
Yes.
They're still important to us. And we don't have funerals.
Yes.
And I'm not saying we have to, but I wouldn't be averse to it.
No.
I think it would be a lovely idea. I believe that funerals are for the living.
Yes.
They're not for the dead. They're a chance for you as the living to say your piece, to get some closure, to do what you need to do, whether that's silent prayer, whether that's listening to a certain song, whether that's telling a whole story and having a large funeral, or whether that's having a direct funeral where you do something then with remains later or at the graveside, or however you want to do it. There needs to be a moment
to commemorate this life.
And I really feel that helps with the process.
Correct.
And everybody will have different ideas about this, but I feel really strongly about this through the work that I do in grief, and also the work that I've done 4 years in the past before I was a therapist. I will have a funeral for my dog. I won't hire a hall and invite lots of people, but my dog will be, I will honour him.
Yes.
My dog will be celebrated. Donnie will be, will do something so that we have an opportunity to feel the feeling.
Yes.
A moment to sit in the feelings, to cry without judgment, to tell our stories, to say what we miss, to come together, which is what Donnie's been for us, to come together as a family and talk about his loss as much as talking about his life.
Yes.
And that, I believe, is a way of helping someone. So if your friends or families or anybody you know has had a loss of an animal, it might be an idea to just ask them, what can we do for that animal? Should we go somewhere? Where was the favourite place you took them? Like your daughter with her, is it a greyhound?
Yes.
What was
yes.
his name?
Harry.
Harry.
Ooh,
So
I had a moment there where I panicked. What? Harry?
So Harry, so you and your daughter could go on a walk where
Yes.
Harry used to walk. You
Yes.
could lay some flowers. You could, you know, she could do those things.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
gives her opportunity and a safe environment or permission to do the grieving.
Yes. And that's exactly it. Because if you remember from our first episode, grief is painful because it is not talked about. It is something that is a hidden topic, a taboo topic, because it makes people feel uncomfortable. There are no words that can soothe or comfort you. And what we are saying here is, by not saying anything, by not acknowledging the loss, you are doing more harm. Because this vacuum that has been created is more jarring, more grating than the remembrance. A lot of us want to talk about our loved ones so that the space, the life that they led was not in vain.
Yeah.
Was not in vain. They made an impact. They were of value. And that's what grieving is. It's recognizing the value that the animal that has left gave to that individual in their life.
So important.
So by not talking about it, you're devaluing.
Do you remember what we said? And I still haven't heard it described in a better way.
Grief
is love with nowhere to go.
Correct.
You're grieving because you loved and were loved.
And now there's nowhere for that love to go.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go. And so give space. Going back to the conversation Zanny was talking about, giving time off for employers, for friends. Create the environment where an individual can come and talk about their pet without judgment.
So employees, if you're listening,
please give that person some time off, and give it without reservation or condition. The same way you'd have given it if a nun died. That was their primary caregiver, not the mother. Some of us are attached to our grandmothers or our aunties or our uncles. And when they pass, because they're recognized as our primary caregivers, we're given time off. That's not my mum.
This is where goes wrong in society, in the policies and society of working, when people are restrained to policies. I remember working and my great aunt died and I wasn't allowed the day off for the funeral. I was only allowed to have a day off for a funeral if somebody I lived with died.
Yes.
So it would be my immediate family for this particular place of work was someone you lived with. So it could be your children if they still live with you. It could be your parent if you still live with them. And it could be your partner if you live with them.
Oh, that's harsh.
Really harsh. I mean, I'm hoping that that's changed now, because that was a really long time ago. That was probably 2006. No, 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
So it was a really, really long time ago, and I'm hoping it has changed. But as understanding, as conversations like these happen, if we can do anything today, it would be to make sure that the external world, when someone's suffering with grief, there's no element of, well, that was only your great aunt.
Yes.
That was there's
no dissection of the relationship.
No comparison.
No.
If you're grieving somebody you loved and cared about, it should be seen as that. Yes, we know people take advantage of it, which is why policies have to be put in place. But surely, human to human, energy to energy, you can pick up and you'll know whether that's a real loss or not. And if someone's upset because they've lost someone, who are you to judge and say that they're not an important enough person in their life, or an important enough animal or being in their life? It really should just be, yes, that person's grieving, they've come to me. That's really, really hard to come to someone and say that. So I'm going to accept it for what it is. I'm going to accept what you're saying, and I'm going to offer you this time.
Correct. And it's that empathy and compassion that we're extending to each other, because that then pays itself back. Because if you treat somebody with compassion and empathy, then they reward you with commitment and loyalty. And so, yes, there are people who will take advantage. Yes, there are people who will play the system, but they can only do it for so long. There's going to be a point when they're going to run out of pets and relatives, and things will come out in the conversation somewhere, somehow the story won't connect. But do not make the rest of society pay the price for skepticism. And so how do we help each other with grief is, and I'm not going to split it with grief of a pet. Grief is take the individual at face value. If they tell you they're grieving the loss of somebody important, there should not be a distinction between species. The fact remains, it has made an impact in their life. Therefore, they cannot be present for you in the same capacity as they were prior to this loss. And we need to acknowledge that and not make them justify the reason why we need to empathize with them.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
I think the reason we have to acknowledge what the person says for face value is because everybody's grief journey is different. The same way as if we've both got tattoos, so if I was to get a tattoo and it hurt me in the same place as you got a tattoo and it might not hurt you,
I cannot diminish your pain.
Exactly, it still hurt me,
yes.
Right? It still hurt me, and it still didn't hurt you, and that is fine.
Yes.
So with grief, if someone is hurting, if someone's in pain, if someone's missing somebody, who are we to say they're not?
Take them for face value. They're telling you they are in pain because their dog, their fish, their hamster, their cat, their parrot passed away. Console them. Console with them. Sit with them. Remember, we don't have, there are no words that can make it any better. So I release you from trying to find the right words. There are no words. There are no words. What that person wants is somebody to walk alongside them whilst they navigate this new space.
Yeah.
And more often than not, they don't know themselves. We never know what we want when we're grieving. We might know it later on when we begin processing the event. But in the first instance, I have no idea. All I know is that this hurts. So when you start asking me, what can I do to make it better? I don't have a sausage.
Yeah,
no
and this
idea.
is where we go back to the just be.
Just sit with
be,
me.
Don't do.
Or look at me and watch what I am doing. Have I had a shower? Have I eaten? Am I holding on to my dog's strap, looking completely lost and forlorn? And then ask me the question, do you want to go for a walk? You remember those rituals? Maybe you've caught me at the time when I used to take my dog for a walk. Enter friend. I know this is the time you used to go for a walk. Do you fancy going for a walk? So the routine continues, and yes, granted, you're not replacing, and it will not feel the same. It will not feel the same, but some of it is in that giving them that space, because that might be where they start opening up and saying, oh my God, this is where this used to happen.
Yeah, it's opportunity.
It's opportunity. Yeah. And maybe that's where they're going to come out of their catharsis, come out of their shock, and begin to tell you what would be helpful for them. So let's be there for each other. Let's reserve that judgment. In fact, let's throw judgment out the window. Thank you very much. And be there for each other. And then take the lead. Take the lead. Remember that conversation we were having? Friend, no. You haven't showered for how many days? No, this is not a good look for you. Let's go and have a shower. Let's go and I'll wash your hair for you. Because that in itself can be just too much. So those are ways that you can be able. Have you eaten? When was the last time you ate? And food, not packet, tinned, no. Food, well, I say tinned because tinned is nourishing. Not Uber Eats, and Uber, don't come for me. There is a place for Uber Eats. Sometimes we need nourishment. We need the sort of comfort food that, a hot potato would give me with
Stew.
beans and cheese.
Stew. Yeah, stew and dumplings.
Oh,
that's winter food. Where are we going? That's winter food.
It might be lunchtime. Can you guess? So those are some ways that you can be able to support your each other, your friend who's grieving a pet.
Yeah.
Be there for them, and do not expect them to know how you can be there for them. Sit with them if that's what it's going to be. Give them the space for them to remember.
Just do not avoid them.
Yes.
Do not avoid them.
And don't bring another replacement.
Yeah.
Where is it that I saw that? Where I think it was a movie I watched. I can't remember what it was. Where they brought a replacement dog. Yeah.
No.
Yes. And that, as you can imagine, that fell really flat.
Then you don't have time to grieve because you've got to look after something else.
And then we were having that conversation. When you were saying character is different, everything is. There's a time and place for some of these things. And yes, it might be that getting another pet might be the answer, but that's at the end of the process. And be led by the individual. Let them come and tell you, maybe
that's
it's time
the most important
yes.
thing. Let them.
I've been thinking of getting another dog. Oh, okay. I'll come with you to go and choose, or what are you thinking of? Yeah, absolutely. Welcome the conversation, but don't
just do it.
No.
And if you're the person that's grieving the pet, be kind to yourself.
Yes.
Give yourself time to be alone and to be with friends and family. Talk about your pet. If you feel resistance in other people, just try and talk through that, because they'll learn that you're comfortable with talking about your pet.
And that's it. That's very key. That's very important. That sometimes we recognize the value that this pet had for you, and so we are afraid that we might say the wrong thing, or misstep. And so sometimes we're waiting for the cues from you.
Yeah, and I think that's why when we were talking earlier and I asked what your daughter's dog name was, that's something really simple. If you're talking to someone and you don't really know them, but they're grieving a pet, ask the question.
Yes,
because they'll want to share it. Even if they get teary or upset, they're probably it's something that's needed to keep that memory and that feeling kind of moving. Stops the avoidance, which avoidance will only grow that vacuum you were talking about earlier. It will make it grow bigger. There's natural avoidance, but then there's real avoidance where you just don't talk about anything.
No.
But having the opportunity and being given the opportunity to talk about the thing you've lost, the thing you're missing, the person, the thing, the object, even if it's a job or whatever, that's why I'm saying thing, then you're given the opportunity to talk about it. That can only help this process.
Correct. Absolutely. It is soothing. That talking about it stops it from being this big black hole in the system, and it gets the energy moving. It gets the angst out of your system. It gets the sadness out of the system, because you're being able to express it.
Yeah.
So take it from us as therapists. If you're the person grieving, you need to validate. It is your feelings are valid. Your feelings are valid. It is a loss, and we agree it is a loss, and there's a vacuum that has been created. And one of the things that you can help yourself to move this vacuum, this feeling out of your system is talk about it. Talk about it to your journal if you don't have friends. Talk about it to the telephones now all have recordings. There's something about hearing your voice, hearing it bouncing back to you that is affirming, which is one of the reasons why journaling is great. But when you hear your voice back at you, it makes sense. You can make sense of what you're hearing.
Yeah.
Your friend listening and telling you, wow, you might be surprised. I didn't realize how much your animal gave you. And sometimes even when you speak it out loud, you don't realize yourself how much this
it's a way of making sense of it.
Correct.
You can also speak to your animal,
Yes.
And I think that's something I would do. It's not something everyone would do or feel comfortable doing, but I would still enter my home and be like, hey, speak to my house as though the energy's still there.
Yes.
And that would bring me comfort. It might not everybody, but that's something I will try.
And give it a try and see what that feels like. Because again, there is no right and wrong. None of us have the magic answer here. And every loss is different. Every loss is different, just like every individual is different. One hurts more than the other. Maybe this is your second, your third pet to have lost. I'm pretty sure it feels very different from the first, the second, the third. So there is no, release yourself from that expectation of, hold on, I should be getting that. No, it doesn't work the same way. You're a different person because it's a different time in your life. The animal was very different. Your experiences were very different. Therefore, the process will be different.
Yeah, in the same way as that some people might want to get rid of all of the things that remind them of the animal straight away. So the fish tank, the rabbit hutch, the dog bed, the cat bowls. They might want to be like, oh, my animal's not here now, so I'm going to clear all that away. And that might be what they need. But other people might want to put all those things in one space and sit with it for a while. Other people might want to make, which is, I think, is a lovely idea, a box and put some certain things in there so they can look at it when they're ready and close it away.
Like a memory box.
Yeah.
Yes.
And put it somewhere when they're ready. You can put pictures in. You can add to it over the years and write little notes to it and new pictures.
We do that with ourselves as human beings.
Yeah.
Look at your gallery. How many pictures do you have?
On your phone.
Yes. We used to have them in photo albums. Some of them we display them on the wall. Some of them you could find that maybe what will soothe you will be to find a favorite picture of your animal and get that printed out for yourself or put into a locket, or experiment with what feels comforting to you and experiment with it and trial it out and see what that means for you and what it gives back to you.
So what feels right to you is the most important thing to do.
And so there is actions for the loved ones. And if you are unable to penetrate, or if you're getting judgment from people around you as the person who has experienced the loss, feel free to share this episode with people as a way for them to find out how they can help you. So take it to your friends, your family, and say, okay, you've been asking me how to support me. Have a watch of this, because that way, then some of the words, the actions, the responsibility is taken away from you.
Yeah, and I think it's important to remember that we're saying grief is grief. No matter why you're experiencing it. And what comes with grief, it can affect your memory. It can affect the way you regulate your systems, your nervous system. It can affect your state of mind. It can affect your emotions. It can affect various things. So it is so important that you are kind to yourself and you give yourself time to work out what you need.
Yes.
To be able to sit in it so that you can drive through it.
Yes. Yes.
If you are still struggling with grief and the feelings that come with that, then and you've utilized lots of things we've spoken about and some other things that you might feel like trying, then and you're still struggling, I think that's the time when you might need to reach out for professional support and be in touch with somebody or your GP.
That's right. That's right. And especially if you watch this and you're feeling okay, you've tried all of the things that we've talked about, and it is not alleviating, or you don't even have the network, the support network around you, then like Zanny says, there are other professionals that can be able to step in to support you. So absolutely find a therapist who can be able to help you. Go to your GP and ask for support. Make use of the helplines. I know Samaritans is one of them. There is no mandate that says it has to be a human being. You're struggling, period. Struggling is a human experience. That you as the human are experiencing. Pick up the telephone, make that call, speak to somebody, get the support. You do not need to do this by yourself. Absolutely not. And this is what we are so passionate about. These ideas, identities, caveats, classifications. No. Grief is grief. Loss is loss. A death is a death. Whether it's a human being, whether it is of a dream, which is why we're saying things, whether it is a pet, whether it is a plant. We feel bad when we come from holiday and our plants died because they weren't watered, because they gave us a feeling. They impacted on our quality of life. And if it had an impact on your quality of life, we need to take a minute for it. We need to take a minute for it.
Yeah, absolutely. We do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's it? Anything?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a really great episode, and I think things like this should be spoken about and come to light because there's so much judgment in all areas of mental health, which is
Yes.
why we set up the therapy aunts. So if you've got anything you'd like to share with us, you can do so in the notes at the bottom. Like and subscribe if you like what you've seen today so that you can continue seeing when we upload new podcasts.
And it is important, the liking, because it is what then pushes our content and more people can get to listen to it. And I think this is one of those that more people need to we need to demystify or debunk or this myth about pets. So if you haven't liked any of our videos, this is one that you really need so that it can move far and we can get more people to be more empathetic about grief.
So get involved. We have the link in the show notes for how to get your questions to us. They're anonymous through Google Sheets, so you don't have to provide an email, you don't have to provide your name. Simply write a letter to the therapy aunts. You can email us if you want to on the therapyaunts@gmail.com, but the Google Sheets will do everything you need in order to get in touch with us. We will answer your questions on mental health or share your journeys and stories that you have on mental health, whether it's good or bad. We want to share it all. So if you are willing and if you'd like to talk to us about that, or if you'd like to appear on one of our podcasts, feel free to get in touch. I've been Zanny.
And I've been Audrey.
And we have been the Therapy
Aunts.
Aunts. We'll see you next time.
Bye.